James Comer, can you just give us in a broad picture here, what's your takeaway from Robert Hur's testimony?
Well, look, Robert Hur experienced a lot of the same things that I've experienced over the past year investigating the Bidens for influence peddling. They just don't tell the truth. And when they have to play, in Hunter's case, the drug card, he says, well, I couldn't remember sending that text because I was on drugs. And Joe Biden, when he has to play the dementia card, he plays the dementia card. And it's very difficult to produce a product. One thing that I mentioned in my testimony, lines of question yesterday, was the fact that the timeline's off by a year and a half. Through transcribed interviews, we know the discovery of the classified documents happened a year and a half before the White House declared there was a discovery of the classified documents. What happened in that year and a half? Who had access to them? Unfortunately, Hur's report didn't delve into that, and that's very important, especially when we've proven in our investigation that the Biden family's taken in $30 million from our adversaries around the world, and they have yet to explain to anyone what they did to earn the money. But when you have classified documents being mishandled, one would suspect that they could have played a role in their influence peddling schemes.
$30 million. The White House doesn't think that anyone needs the tapes of Biden's interviews with the special counsel's office. Roll tape, please.
I think the main thing to take away from today is two words for the American people: case closed. There's really no reason that anyone would need the audio tape. We have a transcript that's been made public. House Republicans asked for that. It's been released to them. The point of an audio recording is to inform a transcript. That's the official record of the proceeding, and that's how this works.
Well, you've seen the transcripts. Why do you also want to see the tape?
Because they interviewed a lot of people that didn't make the final report. We need the tapes. We need to know exactly what happened with respect to which documents in Ukraine and Russia particularly were mishandled, because we found suspicious emails that the president's son was sending to those oligarchs in Ukraine and Russia after Joe Biden left office, at a time when Hunter was trying to prove he was still worth the same amount of money that he was getting paid while Joe Biden was vice president, once Joe Biden wasn't in office. And, we suspect that some of these documents could have been in some of those boxes. And how did those boxes end up in 8 different locations? None of this makes sense. Hur's report didn't go deep into that. I read Hur's report, and I read the same level of frustration that I have every day. And with respect to recordings, they said we don't need the recordings. Well, Richard Nixon didn't think the Watergate committee needed the recordings either.
That's true. And
it doesn't matter what they want. It's what the investigators want. And the reason we want it is because we've already proven this family was in influence peddling. From Hur's report, we know that Joe Biden mishandled the documents because he was trying to get money. This is a greedy, entitled family. And we need to know exactly which documents were mishandled.
Sir, I'm sure you've seen this, but Hunter Biden has declined to attend a hearing next Wednesday on this influence peddling. The letter was addressed to you, Congressman. What can you tell us about it?
Well, we didn't get the letter for over an hour. We were reading about excerpts from the letter in the press, and I guess when the White House and Biden legal team are colluding with the mainstream media, they forget to include us. But we've read the letter finally just a few minutes ago, and I'm shocked because all I heard from Hunter Biden was he wanted to come and have a public hearing. Well, now we have a venue for a public hearing, and he's declining to come. The media attacked me for weeks because we wouldn't allow him to testify in public. Well, now we are. Now the media, what's the media going to do now? I think the American people have a lot of questions. In Hunter Biden's deposition, there were many discrepancies from what he claimed happened and what his father's involvement was versus what at least 3 of their business partners said. 3 of the business partners who were in business with Hunter Biden, who all met with Joe Biden, said that totally different, very serious things. When you're investigating a family for this level of public corruption, we deserve the truth. The American people deserve the truth. And we're giving Hunter Biden a venue to testify publicly. Stuart, I think he'll be there. We expect him to be there, and I look forward to having Hunter Biden there next week.
We'll check that out. Congressman Comer, thanks very much for joining us this morning. You're in the middle of all of this, and we want to keep in touch. Thanks very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.